Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I wanted to make a video playing into the narrative of the whole cybersecurity fiasco going on. If the whole Russia getting involved in every single election across the world wasn't a big enough outreach for cybersecurity defense, now we have the the malware WannaCry software hacking into you know many countries over the world and thousands of computers, infecting and holding ransom, using ransomware, and it's becoming more and more of a. At least it seems more and more obvious, that cybersecurity is going to be continuing to grow because you look at North Korea and them testing their missiles, and there's a lot of speculation because some of their missile tests failed that the United States was trying to hack into their missile system and disengage the missiles. So war is no longer fought with just warheads; it's fought with computers, and you could take down the whole economy of a country just by collapsing the economic system or crashing the markets or you know stealing information and then making the using cryptography to hide the information so they can't the person can't access it. You could hold their information for ransom, like it was done with the ransomware. So it's I think it's making people more and more interested in what these cybersecurity companies can do, but more importantly, it's making people more aware that all this freedom that we have essentially with the internet, smartphones, a lot of online products that people use daily, like Facebook, YouTube, their bank account information, all that's on your phone or on your computer, tablets, whatever. And if someone comes in with like some spyware, like hacks into your network, and they can set that spyware there on your computer, and then whenever a certain action happens to your computer, where you open up a certain website, like a bank account or something like that, it can copy your name and password or your keys or anything like that, and figure out how to get in, and then they could steal your information, or they could put in ransomware where they could hold it for ransom. They could do so many different things, and kind of like how at least from my perspective as a U.S. citizen, like the United States is like the biggest exporter of like weapons and like in the world. That's we ironically call our companies defense contractors, but really we're not selling defense. We're selling offense. We're selling missiles. We're selling tanks. We're selling jets. We're selling bombs. We're not really selling things used to defend your country. We're selling you things you can use to attack or fight back. And hacking and cybersecurity is kind of the same way. We have very adept attackers as far as the cyber warfare is concerned, but not much on defense. So I think more and more when we see our own systems get hacked into, or we hear stories about it, or you hear a repetitive narrative like other countries, hacking into everything, and this and that, I think it brings more fear. So I wanted to look at some cybersecurity companies and give you guys some insight on those and at least what I think about them and how you can benefit. I'm just gonna talk about a few of like the more mainstream ones. Obviously, there's gonna be other ones that you all might know about, you might be more interested in. But for right now, FireEye just had a big pop not that long ago, right around May 2nd. It jumped from 12 to about $15 just in a day. And as you can see here, they got good consecutive earnings on Q2 to Q4 and then on Q1 recently. And what FireEye does is FireEye Inc. develops virtual machine-based security platform that provides real-time protection to enterprises and governments worldwide against the next generation of cyber attacks. And you can see on here the PE unfortunately is not labeled. It only has a 2.7 bill market cap. And looking on a 5-year chart, this has come down significantly. It's been on that trend, but you see how it's been coming down, and then it broke out of this downward trend. Now this could be a one-off essentially, where it just ran all the way up. It could start coming back down, but since it broke past all these barriers, if you can like kind of imagine a line coming down from like the peak here to this peak, to this peak, to this peak, to this peak, you keep having lower highs going on here, and then at the bottom, you have lower lows. But then all of a sudden, it breaks through. So their company stock is looking more interesting right now. And like I said, this is just one aspect of cybersecurity. This isn't the only cyber company. You also have CYBR, which is I'm sure pretty easy to remember, which is CyberArk. They have a very high PE of 55, 1.6 billion market cap. The last five earnings beat on all of them. It's always good to see. CyberArk Software Ltd. engages in the development, market, and sale of software-based security solutions for enterprise. It offers shared technology platform, account security, and sensitive information management solutions. The company was founded by UDI, I don't know how to say that name, in 1999, and its headquarters in Israel. And you look on a 5 year, this has been a little more. I don't want to say completely sideways, but it looks like other than this big spike up and this big drop here, it's gone sideways since. Just a lot of ups and downs between. It looks like a peak of 56 and a low of 47. And right now, it looks like it just kind of came back down off that low. So if it's going to repeat history, it's probably going to come back up in the near future or may break down. Who knows? But this is another option if you want to get into cybersecurity. Again, the whole aspect of this video is just playing on the narrative of what we're seeing on the news day to day and just continuing. I would have thought, all this Russia hacking thing would have died off already, but clearly it's not going anywhere. And now with the WannaCry software attack, it's almost like perfect timing. It's just adding to this fear that we have of being watched, people stealing our information, so on and so forth. And again, is another reason why I started getting invested in Bitcoin. It is, for me at least, feels like a much safer avenue to invest in. But let's look at another one, SYMC, Symantec. PE is not available, unfortunately. Almost a 20 billion market cap, so much bigger company. And it's beat on earnings, and then the last earnings report looks like it matched what its projection was. And this company engages in the provision of security, storage, and system management solutions. It operates through the following segments: consumer security, enterprise security, and information management. And there's a bunch more here you can read. Another option for security. Now, this company on a 5 year chart has done better. It's gone pretty sideways for a while. But here in early May, kind of like on FireEye, had a strong jump up. On a 1 year, pretty much from $18 all the way to $32. It's been having a good 1 year run, up 88%. So this seems like a much better company to get into now. It is having this tremendous run up, so possibly getting into it now may not be the best idea. There was a good little drop off right here from 33 down to 31, a $2 drop, but it's already starting to give back some of those gains coming up. So if you are interested in it, it might take a little longer. But like I said, I don't think cybersecurity is going to just die off. Just as the internet continues to grow, it's going to be that much easier for people to hack into other people's accounts, but it's also going to be better or easier for companies to come up and develop software to protect you. In my Stash app, we have the Data Defenders, which is similar, and it's just the ETF, and you can see on a 1 year, it's been growing pretty steadily over the year, and you could look at the top holdings. You got Checkpoint Software Technologies, you got Symantec again, Cisco Systems, Acami Technologies, Palo Alto Networks, FireEye again, Varonis, probably saying that wrong, Systems, Qualys Inc., Imperva Inc., Experian PLC. Um, so this is like another way basically if you want to go the ETF route. You could you could go through this one. And again, there's other ways to go through it. I can't really bring up my Loyal 3 because they're transitioning to the new service. But if you wanted to get like a cheaper way, I think there's one or two in there possibly now, that which actually there might be more come the 22nd, I believe, when the transfer changes to Folio first, because it should be up to 200 stocks. But you can buy the fractional shares and get it that way. But that was just kind of a rundown of just a few. Like I said, these aren't like picture perfect options. I'm not saying they're the best companies. I'm sure if you read one article, it'll say FireEye is the best. I'm sure if you read another, it'll say Palo Alto is the best. I'm sure if you read another, it'll say one of these other ones are the best, So obviously you would have to do your own research on it. And if you're interested in the space, of course, going forward, if you want to get into it. But this isn't something that just like America's involved in, like a lot of foreign countries have a lot of cybersecurity as well as hackers. It's more common, just like as the internet, like I said, the internet in what it is continues to grow, continues to advance. Like things gonna be a lot easier, and like a lot with using like the dark web, and people, you could basically buy some of the software, like the whole. I forget what it was, but there was a attack not that long ago where it was like a high school kid. He bought some software off the dark web, and he was able to like hack into like computers with it or something like that. And it was stories like that. I think that really got people concerned that like this is something that it's not just simple name and password you have to put in your phone. Some phones have thumbprints. Some have double identification systems. Some have increasing ways to secure yourself. People always tell you don't use the same password for all of your emails or whatever. All these things were over time, as interesting, or I should say as interesting, as plain as kind of those ideas sound. Nowadays it won't matter, because if someone puts spyware on your computer, they could find whatever website you're going into, and they could actually just like take a snapshot or record basically you putting in your password every time, and then they could just get the keys that you pressed, and they could get into your system that way. So as more sophisticated this stuff gets, the more these companies are going to grow, and probably cyber companies one day will be as big as defense contractors of how they are now. And instead of waging war, like I said, with guns and missiles, we'll be taking down entire networks, and it'll continue to get worse. I'm sure you're going to continue to see more and more attacks. You're going to see politicians continue to blame other countries for cyber hacking and all this stuff. So if you're interested in this space, of course, this is a good route to go. I would encourage people to think of it on a long-term view, because you're going to grow with your portfolio. It's not going to be something I would recommend day trading, but obviously if you're a day trader, by all means. And hopefully that's a little more insight on that. I just wanted to give that idea. I was just thinking about it earlier today when I hear more and more about the WannaCry software attack. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask. And if you like my channel, help me out, click like, subscribe, and I will talk to you all on the next video.